If you're loving this podcast, be sure to check out the full lineup. From news and local politics to sports and true crime. Find your next great listen right now at duluthnewstribune.com/podcasts. That's duluthnewstribune.com/podcasts.
Hello, Northlanders. It's Friday, August 25th. I'm Dan Williamson with your Duluth News Tribune Minutes, presented by Minnesota Power Employees Credit Union.
The average MPECU member saves over $785 a year in better rates and lower fees. And with MPECU, every ATM is your ATM. With their free checking program, you get ATM fee reimbursements at any ATM anywhere in the U.S. Check out Minnesota Power Employees Credit Union's services online at mpecu.com or visit their offices in downtown Duluth, Arrowhead Road, or Miller Trunk Highway.
It's Friday, and if you're looking for ideas for some fun things to do this weekend, Duluth News Tribune arts and entertainment reporter Jay Gabler has some options in this week's Best Bets.
Attention Soul Asylum fans. Dan Murphy, a founding member of Soul Asylum and part of the band for all the big hits you remember, is now parted ways with the group, but has a new group called The Scarlet Goodbye. And you may not know, Dan Murphy is actually from Duluth. He grew up here. So extra cool that he is coming to the Northland with his new group, The Scarlet Goodbye, kind of a Minnesota supergroup that also features Jeff Arundel, singer-songwriter. They're going to be playing a free show tonight, Friday, in Silver Bay. So great excuse to make a trip up the shore or stay right where you are if you are a Silver Bay resident for a free show tonight, Friday, by the band The Scarlet Goodbye. Meanwhile, here in Duluth at Bayfront Festival Park, it is the annual Tribute Fest. And it's not a tribute to the fest. It is actually a fest that is full of tribute bands. That is bands playing the music of other bands. So real easy, good time. You'll hear a lot of songs that you know and love from a lot of great tribute bands here in Duluth from across Minnesota, and is all for a good cause, raising money to support unhoused veterans. For that reason, the fest is in fact free to current military personnel and veterans. That is this weekend, Friday and Saturday, in Bayfront Festival Park. And mark your calendar for Wednesday, this coming Wednesday at Zeitgeist at the Zinema in downtown Duluth. There's a special one-night-only screening of the 1987 summer classic Dirty Dancing. If you're a Gen Xer like me, you remember that movie steaming up screens, both in movie theaters and then on home video when it came out in 87. Starring, of course, Patrick Swayze, Jennifer Grey, and a classic soundtrack mixing hits of the 60s when the movie is set and songs newly recorded for that movie in the 80s, including She's Like the Wind, sung by Mr. Swayze himself. You know, I guess I'm a critic, so I can go ahead and give my opinion. It's a great movie, and you have a chance to see it this coming Wednesday in Duluth. For more on these and other best bets for the weekend and the week, check out duluthnewstribune.com. I'm Jay Gabler.
Now here's a look at today's headlines. Plans for a new downtown Duluth library are coming into clearer focus as the city continues to gather public inputs on the building's future. If the city can garner sufficient state and federal supports, it looks like the existing downtown library at 520 West Superior Street will likely face demolition, with a new multi-purpose structure to be rebuilt in its place. The estimated price tag? A cool $72 million, although that estimate assumes continued high construction costs, which have begun to moderate slightly since the pandemic, noted Jim Philby-Williams, Duluth's Director of Parks, City Properties, and Libraries. Initial plans call for a new 88,000 square foot building, about the same size as the existing library, but the facility also would be home to a workforce development center, potentially the Duluth Police Department's interdisciplinary behavioral health units, and other possible nonprofit tenants. Philby-Williams expects the facility will provide space for services such as health insurance navigation, tax preparation assistance, mental health evaluation, and substance abuse assessments. The city must move swiftly if it hopes to put the project in line to obtain state bonding bill funds, with a pre-design and cost estimate due by October. Philby-Williams said city staff hope to assemble a package of funding that will place little to no additional burden on local taxpayers. Duluth will seek about half the necessary funding from the state through inclusion in its next bonding bill. The rest will have to come through other services. There is about $50 million in federal funds earmarked for multi-purpose community centers in Minnesota through the American Rescue Plan Act as one potential resource. Those federal funds must be put to use before the end of 2026, however. Philby Williams said the city is seeking clarification on that requirement, as a successful application could push Duluth into an aggressive timeline. It will likely take 18 to 24 months to construct a new library, so a 2026 completion deadline likely would necessitate the demolition of the existing facility by early 2024. While the federal funds are unlikely to cover a full 50% of the project cost, Philby Williams said the Duluth Library Foundation is contemplating a capital fund drive, and the city also could redirect funds currently being used to lease space at 402 West 1st Street for the Workforce Center to service debts. Library manager Carla Power said a number of focus groups have been held, and library patrons have submitted more than 600 surveys detailing their top priorities for a new facility. The library continues to gather inputs at www.duluthnewsribune.news/redesign. Only 57% of respondents to a recent survey said they were aware that Duluth has a citizen review board. Fewer than half of those same respondents indicated they felt confident in their knowledge of the board's mission and role. And of the 36 citizens who reported filing complaints over the past 5 years, nearly 2/3 said they were left feeling dissatisfied with the process. The all-volunteer board, established a decade ago as an oversight mechanism for the Duluth Police Department, appeared to be at an inflection point Wednesday night. A recent racial bias audit conducted by the Boston-based Crime and Justice Institute described the board as having limited oversight and said engagement has rapidly declined since 2019, with analysts recommending an overhaul of the board's mission and a renewed focus on assisting citizens through the complaint process. Katie Zaft, the Duluth-based project manager who oversaw the audits, noted the board only has authority to serve in an advisory capacity, as opposed to other types of commissions that sometimes have the ability to take action on matters such as discipline. Additionally, unlike boards in some other jurisdictions, Duluth's members are not paid, which Zaff said has made it difficult to find volunteers willing to commit to several hours of work every month. Zaff said the board should still play an important role in encouraging people to come forward with their complaints and ensuring that they are fully adjudicated. Board Chair Sarah Vaccarella pointed to larger issues in achieving that goal. She said she can only recall being able to provide recommendations to the police department in 1 or 2 cases since 2018. The 90-page audit released earlier this month quoted members expressing concern that the board has no teeth and that it is only able to affect change in the department where DPD wants to change. Meanwhile, in the eyes of at least some community members, the board gets nothing done, the auditors wrote. Another public presentation on the audit is scheduled for 7 p.m. September 7th at the Family Freedom Center, 310 North 1st Avenue West. Now here's a look at your forecast, brought to you by the Superior Telegrams podcast, Archive Dive.
Weather for the Duluth area today, looking at chances of storms in the morning, otherwise patchy fog, then clearing on out with mostly sunny skies and breezy conditions for your Friday afternoon. High temperatures in the low 80s, dropping down into the upper 50s for tonight. Mostly cloudy skies to start Saturday, but clearing on out, and high temperatures take a big drop, only in the mid-60s. I'm Storm Tracker meteorologist Robert Pointer.
Thank you to Archive Dive for their support. The monthly history podcast, hosted by Superior Telegram reporter Maria Lockwood, dips into the archives of historic events, people, and places around Superior and Douglas County. It's available at superiortelegram.com or wherever you also get this podcast. This month's episode is part 1 of a 2-part series looking back at the life of the legendary Bud Grants. Reporting for today's episode was done by Peter Passy, Tom Olson, and Jay Gabler. Thank you for listening to the Duluth News Tribune Minutes. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you back here on Monday.